big set, where them hands, where them holes, where them throws, you know what I'm saying?
This is why I train in martial arts.
Here are a few quick tips on how you can train your martial arts during the coronavirus outbreak. Because if you're training through a county class like I teach, we're not having class right now, according to the county. I'm not sure about every single rec center, but the last I heard, there were no classes. So you probably gonna have to train on your own. So here are some things that you can do if you have to train on your own, especially for Taekwondo. I'll do that first. For Taekwondo, number one thing you can do, practice your forms. If you're doing a Taekwondo, Karate Do, Kung Fu, even some forms of shadow boxing, even some forms of judo if you're at the point where you're learning your Nagi no Kata and Katami no Kata. Practice your solo forms. Practice your form exercises. This is a perfect opportunity. Use your imagination. Go through your basics by themselves. Practice your punches and your kicks. Practice holding your leg out. Practice going through your forms slowly. Practice going through your forms with power, but practice your forms. Another thing you can do, and this would just be for any general martial arts, stretch. Work on your stretching. Work on your flexibility. You're not in class right now where the teacher may have to rush through it so that you can get to a lot of stuff that involves more movement to not only have you learn the curriculum, but quite frankly, to keep you entertained and engaged. Because even if you needed to work on it, I know a lot of students I've had wouldn't want to spend 30, 40, 50 minutes stretching, regardless of how stiff they truly are, and no matter how much they may need it or not. They're going to think it's boring. And I understand that, because I thought it was boring at one time myself. So practice your stretching. Another thing you can work on, if you have a treadmill at home, this is a good time for you to work on your physical fitness. You should be doing that anyway, but you can work on that even more. You can do repeated kicks. Let's say, let's try to see how many kicks we can do in a minute repeatedly. That'll be a good aerobic exercise. You could do some shadow boxing. That would work for boxing. That would work for something like Taekwondo. Some shadow boxing, shadow sparring, 15, 20, 30 minutes, maybe even 45 minutes. Use your visualization. Imagine there's somebody in front of you. Go through that. Something else you can do to train. This is a good time for you to look at some videos, look at some applications for your moves, and see about going through them and implementing them. If you like to buy martial arts books like I do, go into your repertoire, take out a book you haven't looked at for a while, go through it, see if you can come up with some applications. You can watch channels like this and that, like others. I do have some applications here. I do more talking and philosophical videos than anything, but I do have some applications here. But there are some other channels like Ian Apodathy's channel, even though he's karate. A lot of it's still the same movements. Go look at some YouTube channels. Like I've said before, look at security camera footage videos and see if there's anything that's going on in real life that reminds you of a move that you do in your form, and apply that. So that's something else you can do. Judo has quite a few solo exercises. I'm going to switch over to judo for a little bit. You can practice your foot sweeps on the air. You can practice your kumikata, your gripping on the air. You can practice fitting on the air. What was that called? Fitting practice? I can't remember the name. Fitting practice. Take your black belt, stick it in the creases of the door, fit in for your shoulder throw, fit in for your shoulder throw, fit in for your shoulder throw. Go up against the wall, do your foot sweep against the wall. Try doing your sotogari against the wall. Sweep it over again. If you don't have a partner at home, this is a good time to practice shadow fitting, working on your footwork, your 1-2 footwork stepping in. So you can come around and practice reaching, getting your body angle pickup for your ogoshi hip throws, your ukigoshi hip throws, even your koshiguruma hip throws. Shadow fitting. Get on the ground and go through pinning sequences. There's no resistance because you're by yourself, but just the act of moving your body. I used to practice when I couldn't get to class for a year and a half. For judo, I practiced everything I could on the ground, moving. I even practiced triangle chokes on the air, just trying to do them faster and trying to get my body just more comfortable in doing it. Practicing a lot of stuff on my back. That would be the resistance of gravity itself. And then when I showed up for practice finally, teacher was like, You've been practicing. I thought you hadn't gone to class. You've been doing something. You've been moving. I said I couldn't go to class, so I just did what I could do every day, just worked on my fundamentals. And that's really what it comes down to anyway. Whether you're doing a martial art or not, even if you were playing tennis, every sport or activity has fundamental movements that you can do, that you should do when you're by yourself, so that when you're playing your game against an opponent, you can do it better. There's a lot of stuff I know, a lot of moves you wish you could work on, but you just never have the chance because when you're trying to do it, somebody in class is trying to frustrate you because they're being competitive with it. Since you can't go to class because of coronavirus, this is a perfect time. Now, something that works for Taekwondo and Judo, of course. It's a great time for you to practice your falls, practice your forward rolls, practice your static rolls, falling from each side. I even started doing, even though I don't like to do this roll, the sideways roll like this in Aikido. I just feel like it's too much compression on the spine. I think it's going to be bad for the spine in the long run. Now, I could be wrong. I don't like to do it that much, but I'll practice that every once in a while. So practice rolling. You got a nice thick enough carpet and you're on the lower level of where you live, this is a great time for you to practice falling. So again, it all comes down to practicing your fundamentals. If you're in a form-based system like Cecil Ryu is, this is the perfect time to practice your form. If you are involved in any online courses, like I think I have a gold membership at like Yusho Jitsu University. It's Art Mason's product. Go to something like that. If you are a student of George Dillman's, go through your George Dillman DVDs. If you are a student or fan of Roddy Ferguson, I know I'm name dropping. I'm not going to get paid anything like that, but this is what I'm just being honest. This is what I do. I liked Roddy Ferguson, so I followed him when he was going to the Olympics, and I bought some of his products. You still got some of those DVDs around the house? Look at them. Look at video right now. And I'm saying this for Taekwondo and Judo, whatever it is, even if you're playing the piano. Go through your solo exercises. This is what really gets me. People understand the importance of, like, if you play the guitar, I played the trombone. You understand the importance of your solo practicing, your breathing, breath control. You understand all that when it comes to something that's not martial arts. But then a lot of you seem to think that just because it's martial arts and it's about fighting, that you're always supposed to be pounding on another individual all the time. No. Since you're going to be by yourself, now's a good time for you to practice by yourself. If you happen to either live with your instructor or live with a classmate because they're your sibling or your spouse, or your girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever the relationship is, because you have the relationship with them, and you two can practice, now's a good time. So the moral of the story is, don't use Corona as an excuse not to practice or exercise. You can. So that means also yoga. Yes, yoga. This is a good time for you to look at some yoga stretching, some power yoga, calisthenics. You know, I was doing upside down push-ups for a while. I can't really do them that well. I still do them, and they don't make me look good, but they do make me a lot stronger. What they call yoga push-ups, or sometimes judo push-ups, the dans, where you rock the body all the way through. I might do a video on that, on how to do a dan. I thought I did it before. I think I'll do it again. I've done those. That got me to the point where I could bench press 300 pounds without taking steroids, and I can still get 300 off me at least once. More than that, but at least once I can get it off me, and I don't look that good, but it still gets you stronger. Let's not forget plain old walking, running. If you got the knees to do it. Some of us don't have the knees to do that anymore. Walk. You can't walk, run. Speaking of which, if you want to move on the ground for judo, you have your shrimping exercises. If I'm using a term or something that you don't know what I'm talking about, go to YouTube, type in shrimping exercises for judo. What is he talking about? Forms for Taekwondo. What is he talking about? We live in an age, an information age, where all this stuff is at your fingertips. And a lot of this stuff you can do at home. That doesn't mean, no, I don't need a teacher. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying what I'm saying. I'm saying, since you can't go to class, which is the best thing, this is the next best thing. And this is also stuff that you need to be doing anyway. So now you got the perfect time to do it if you're not going to class. What else can I recommend? Oh, hold on for a second. Y'all gonna think I'm crazy. I'm gonna give away one of my little secrets. Hold on. This is a carrying case or tub, whatever. This is a big crate, if you will, of stuff. This is a big crate of stuff that has books in it that I have read over the years. So you see, it's not all martial arts stuff. But rather than throwing all these books away, and I even got some folders and some old papers that have different notes and things. I got an old Park and Rec guide in here. But you know what this thing is? This thing is heavy. So you know what that means I can do with it since it's heavy? I can pick it up and curl and curl and curl and curl and curl and curl. And look at me. I'm lifting weights without having going to the gym. And that may not make me look pretty, but guess what it'll do? It'll make me stronger. A lot stronger. Now, I know some of you may be against weight training. I'm sneaking in the workout here. You may be against weight training for martial arts, but I'm not. And I can do a back lift, a deadlift, just like this, at a reasonable weight. See what I'm doing here? I stack up a bunch of books in here. You can do this with jugs of water too. Like your old laundry jugs. Fill those up full with water instead of throwing them out. Keep them around. After a while, you can put them in an old bag of luggage and use that like dumbbells. See what I'm doing with this? While I'm talking to you. Don't forget to breathe. So I guess I'm getting me an extra set for today. See this? Juice is not just for drinking. Once it's done, fill it up with water. Keep it. You get about 20 of them in a box or in a container like that, or even in like this is one of my old bags that I don't use. You stick a bunch of these in something like that. Voila! You have weights. Now see, stuff like that, benefits me because up until recently, my children were not adults. So daddy couldn't just go out to the gym all the time like daddy used to. If you know me, you knew that my weight goes up and down. There was a time though when people were like, "Ooh, Cecil doing good with his weight." That's because Cecil could get to the gym, but then Cecil realized that he needs to be home for his children, or Cecil's children not gonna have a daddy. So I do that at home, and I can still get a lift. See, because that's the only thing I don't like about body weight training. I can get the push away, but I don't really get to lift anything. So I can push, but I don't get to pull in something with resistance. And if I had like a pull-up bar or something in my house, I could pull up on that. But some of you that are smaller, if you live in a house that has a basement, there may be a part in your house where I forget what it's called because I'm not a construction person. It's like the beam, one of the support beams in the house, it's metal. You can grab it because I did this for a little bit too. I did this. You can grab the beam and start curling it. I mean, pull yourself up like you're doing pull-ups. So you can do that. I did that for a couple of weeks, but then I noticed, as big as I am, I might be affecting this house, and I don't want my house to crumble, so I had to stop doing it. I didn't mess up the foundation, but I just dawned. I'm just like, dude, this is impressive that you can do this, because I was holding on by my fingertips, so I couldn't really grab it because my hands are so big. Like, this is impressive, and this is stuff of Kung Fu Legend, but you're gonna screw your house up. So I had to stop. So, if you stuck with me this long and you don't have the attention span of a rabbit, I forgot about one other thing you can do. Stances. Do your stances. Hold your stances. What is he talking about? If you don't know what a stance is, look it up. Look up. Basic Taekwondo stance. Now, one thing I recommend if you want to get the workout, because this stance thing also bleeds over into yoga too. It's just in yoga, they'll call it a different posture. Like they call it warrior pose in yoga. It's probably called front stance or forward stance, depending on what style you take. And judo doesn't really have that stance. But what judo does have is what's called jigotai, where you sit, both knees bent, knees point out at a 45-degree angle. Jigotai is similar to a basketball stance, which is similar to the sitting stance in modern Taekwondo, which is similar to the horse riding stance, and a lot of Karate Do and Mabo stance in Kung Fu. That's Poppy. That's one. Here is a good opportunity for you to work on your sitting stance. Since you can't go to class, here's a workout for you right here. Now you can take that little jug that I just had. Oh, I don't have the jug in here anymore. So you can sit down. Oh, I use this jug of water. See, I'm weird. Punch with that. I wish I had two. Sit in your stance and punch with that if you need a physical workout. Okay? So, again, this is getting too long, so I'm going to stop. My point is, if you use your imagination, there are all kinds of things you can do. And Corona doesn't have to keep you from practicing. And if you want to do some things against the coronavirus itself, look up the breath of fire from yoga. That breathing exercise. Look it up. Like I said, I've said so much in this video. Refer to it, stop, go back and pause. Say, what is he talking about? Look it up. I bet you there's a YouTube video for it. If there's not, you can nag me, ask me, and I'll do it for you. I'll make one. So thanks for watching this video. If you stuck this long, like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this with people who like to talk about the martial arts. Now is the time for solo practice. Now is the time for you to review your fundamentals. And my students, now is the time to practice your forms. Okay, practice your forms. You don't have an excuse that you don't get a chance to practice them because you don't have class right now. So when we come back to class, I want to see your forms. Parents, make them go through their forms before they kick at you. All right? Don't just spar with them, parents. Make them go through their forms. In peace. And as always, thank you for your time.
Where them kicks at? Where them hands? Where them holes? Where them throws?